How's it going, guys? This is Talk About Games. Today we are playing Transformers Devastation. We're playing here on PC, but the game is available on, what, PS4 and what's it on?
PS4, it's available on Xbox One, it's available on PS3, and it's available on Xbox 360. So pretty much any platform that you want to find it on.
Except the Wii U.
Except for, yeah.
So this is a game that, oh my god, we're kids from the 80s.
Yeah.
We grew up with so many 80s cartoons, you know, He-Man, Thundercats, all those shows. Here we are finally in the year 2015. We're getting to play our legit G1 Transformers game. It's the first time that's ever even happened, and it's amazing. I'm super excited.
It's interesting, the characters that were chosen, because there's a lot of the original cast, but then you're also seeing like Grimlock coming into it.
Right.
You're seeing Blitzwing. You're seeing a lot of guys that were in the middle, but there's really a lot of fan favorites.
So this is amazing. I actually have Peter Cullen and Frank Welker and a lot of voices from the original cartoon in the game doing the voices.
Megatron and his Decepticons are already here.
And there's been other Transformers games over the years. There's been the crappy Famicom game.
The Famicom game where, you know, you have all these great Transformer characters to fight against, and you're fighting against a Decepticon symbol.
Yeah.
One-hit deaths, all these awful things.
There's, I'm sure, a lot of the Michael Bay games, and I don't know.
Beast Wars.
Never cared for any of that stuff. There was at least the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron. I liked those, but while they're closer to the G1 style, they're not truly G1, where this is actual.
This is G1 as it gets. Like, you're Optimus Prime, you're fighting Megatron, you're in the city, there's Energon cubes. Just take your wish list of Transformers things that you want in a game, and this game has them.
Legitimately. I mean, right down to Optimus's energy axe. I mean, they got little details in there, little obscure references. Crimzeek is even in this. Vince DiCola doing the music, just like off of the 1986 movie. This is like a Transformers fan's wet dream right here. So here we are, we're getting into the gameplay, and so this is sort of like a classic plot out of a 1980s Transformers cartoon. The Decepticons are trying to turn the Earth into Cybertron here, and they're just, you know, the Transformers are trying to stop them. There was a few episodes, I think, that had that plot.
I really like how in combat the transformations are built into the combos and built into the style. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna fight as my robot mode, and then I'm gonna change my vehicle. It's all interlaced together.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is awesome now.
That's like some like Godzilla shit.
Yeah,
right
this
there.
is what you want.
Yeah. Boom.
I mean, honestly, this looks better than the cartoon. Like, look at the shading on Optimus Prime and like Devastator.
I love when they show the nameplates. It's like the toys, like where it's like Autobot War, you know, like that kind of thing. Yeah. Like where it said Devastator there.
There's definitely some toy inspirations going on. This is like watching the best episode of the cartoon.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, like, do you remember the episode of Transformers where Optimus beats somebody up, turned into a car, and sideswiped him with a trailer?
Yeah.
Like,
look at this.
You do now.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
This is the Devastator that everybody wanted to see
in the Michael Bay movie.
In the Michael Bay movie. Like, here it is. Like, why didn't they just do this?
Yeah. Yeah, if you're listening, Michael Bay, look what PlatinumGames.
This is how you make a Transformers movie.
Yeah.
Like, I hope they're gonna do another one after this. Like, keep this going.
Yeah, make this the series. Don't go back to doing like the movie. Like
that's what I'm so worried about. Like, this game's gonna happen, then 3 years from now, it's gonna go back to what it was. You know, they need to just continue on in this style and keep going.
Yeah, look at
you know?
It's more colorful.
Oh
the
my
characters
God.
are super identifiable and iconic. The combat is what you want it to be. Hey, Mike, and he's got a life bar. He doesn't have one of those flashing bebop things from the arcade.
Exactly. It's amazing that this is so early on, because I would think, well, obviously I would think, you know, Megatron would be who you're going to fight at the end, I would imagine, unless it's like, unless they put Unicron into the game, which...
That's the sequel, right? You go from this, and then you go straight into like Unicron.
That's the only place you can go really from here, is you go to Unicron.
Yeah, and then in 3 they could have Galvatron.
Oh, yeah,
and like all that. So we have it all planned out. The next 3.
We know what's happening.
It's like, remember the episode of Transformers where Optimus Prime takes out Devastator by himself with a grenade launcher? That's the one that I liked. Always down. It's great that as his life bar went down, the AI got a little more like you could see him feeling the hits and things like that.
In the cartoon, usually to take down Devastator, Optimus would have to call on to all the, you know, like all the Dinobots or something to sort of even the playing field. But here, all you need is Optimus.
All you need is Optimus. Grimlock's in that cafe over there, like
he's hanging out. He's like, Optimus has got this.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
Getting
it.
a coffee. Me, Grimlock, want latte.
All right,
now
so we're switching over to
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee. Very cool.
And there's Wheeljack out front.
See, that's the real Bumblebee there. None of this.
So see, now we had like a very melee heavy part, and now this part, the enemies are up on buildings, and
Right.
it's more shooting oriented.
I like that. They break up the gameplay so that it's not all...
Don't these barriers over there look like the first wall in Contra? Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
It really
it's
does.
It's pretty crazy. But yeah, there's the Contra wall. Even like the thing around it. So this is like the new villain that's coming out of the ground.
Okay, so we got some, that's cool that they put some
Yeah.
new ones in there. Although that kind of looks like one of the things that was in the Michael Bay.
Yeah, it's like the
Shockwave
same-
in the Michael Bay movie kind of has that
Yeah.
like tentacle look to him. I was thinking maybe that's what they were going for, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, it's definitely got the same coloration as Shockwave. This is like the 80s cartoon thing where the villain and the hero have like a full conversation in the middle of a war zone. Yeah.
Let me tell you my entire plan right now.
Yeah. Where really you'd be like, so you're after the Energon cubes again? And you'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm surprised how quickly such big fights are happening so quickly.
He's gonna get away.
Well, I knew he's gonna get away.
Yeah. It's cool. Optimus is in the fight too. Look, he's an NPC in this fight.
That's great.
And I guess Optimus kind of distracts him, so the shield is going one way. And
It's interesting to think Bumblebee's gonna take out Megatron.
Yeah, look at that.
Getting wrecked. Megatron got shit.
It's like not even a fight against Megatron here.
Megatron's like, all right, I'm gonna put my shield up because that's about all I can
Bumblebee
do.
looks like Yoda in the prequel trilogy here, just like going off on him. You know,
Like attacking the clones.
Yeah, exactly.
When did Megatron turn into Christopher Lee? What do you got, Megatron? Nothing.
Nothing.
Sending him right into the Contra wall. Boom.
Boom.
This is fantastic.
Oh, did you see his alternate mode was a tank and not a gun? I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about that. Oh.
That's because they don't want to sell the gun form of the toy.
That's
They want
why.
to sell the tank. Because the kids and guns and...
I knew I'd find something.
Yeah. That's pretty good, though. If there's only one
That's
thing.
the only thing we have to complain about is that he's a tank. That's not bad.
So we're still in learning phase here.
This game's good in that respect because games that handhold you and it feels like you're going to school, you don't like that. But games where it's integrated in the gameplay,
Yeah, exactly. That's what you want.
that's what you want.
It seems like the team who made this Platinum really knew what the hell they were doing when they made this game.
They really cared about the source material, which is what you need to do.
Yeah.
And then they added a cool combat system on top of it.
Exactly.
Which is what you want because
And I like that it's not just, you know, like the melee fighting all the time. You know, there's little sections in between where, you know, like you were saying, you're shooting guys on top of the roofs and...
yeah. So far we've
It breaks
seen,
it up.
So far we've seen like the Platinum Game style melee combat.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen some shooting guys on rooftops. We've seen driving, like going off of ramps and stuff like
that's
that.
true.
And we've seen collecting items and and like loot systems and stuff. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, they've gotten nothing wrong here.
Double S rank.
Now that I'm wondering that there's 5 playable characters, they really, the easiest thing they could do if they were going to go beyond and make the next game is give you 5 other playable characters. Obviously, always keep like Optimus in there as one of them, but then give you, you know, give you Mirage or give you, you know, whoever.
It'd be cool to see some of the like Cybertronian guys like Cup or like Blur or something like that.
Hot Rod.
Yeah, Hot Rod. Yeah.
Ultra Magnus. You know, they could keep it going that way. Every game give you another 5.
And that'd be cool if they all had a different fighting style. Like you see, like Sideswipe's big into like the swords, or he's got dual swords.
They all have something totally different.
He's doing like the Leonardo thing.
Every time you hit something in this game, I want to see when it happens again. But you get that classic sort of 80s laser effect that was so popular. You know, like when He-Man would raise the sword and the lightning would come to the sword, or when, you know, in the intro to like on Thundercats or something like that, you know, like ho and all that, and they would put in that
like that
flashy effect.
Yeah.
That's all over this game, and that's so nostalgic, and I love that that's so prominent in the game.
There's Optimus again.
I'm so glad to see that, and that's what it should be. It should
be on screen.
Well, no, what I'm saying is like the developers who did this, they thought about it further than we thought about it, I think, and it's rare to see that because oftentimes we're ripping apart a game. This is one where I'm like, shit, they're coming up with better shit than I can come up with.
Right, right, because I mean, you want to have other Transformers because Transformers is like an ensemble.
It is. It's an ensemble cast.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, there's the, you know, I didn't hear the transforming sound
I just heard it.
Until right there. Energon cubes!
Yeah. See the design on Grimlock here? This is real Grimlock. It's not like in War for Cybertron Grimlock.
Yeah.
He's got. I mean, I like the design of the Transformers in War for Cybertron. They look G1-y, but they're not. They're not like this.
The Transformers in those games looked like the War Within Transformers from that comic series.
Yeah.
So it was like very much inspired by I forget if it was IDW or Dreamwave came out with those looking Transformers.
Yeah. Which those
it was cool. It was like Cybertronian looking.
But they're not this.
It's not this. That's Grimlock.
This is real Grimlock.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you're fighting Soundwave, you need to be fighting Laserbeak and Ravage at the same time.
If you're fighting Soundwave, he better look like a goddamn cassette deck, not like a satellite dish.
A satellite dish in space. Look at Laserbeak. Laserbeak has actual lasers coming out of his beak. You need that.
He does, actually.
Yeah, that's how he targets the ones on his shoulders.
Wow.
Like, Soundwave's tiny, but he's still a badass.
It's funny.
He's like...
Well, he's tiny compared to Grimlock.
Yeah, like if you had Bumblebee in here, whoa.
That's great that they got the sizes right, too. You know what I want? I want the anti-version of this game where you play as Megatron and Soundwave and...
With the purple cover.
Yes.
Not the red cover.
Yes. Well, actually, they had a little bit of that in War for Cybertron. You would switch back and you could play as, like, Megatron and Starscream. Which was cool, actually. I did enjoy that game, but it doesn't look half as cool as this.
Yeah, the coolest part of that game was I think you got to play as Metroplex in that one level.
You did.
And you were like stomping everything.
Yeah, that was
cool.
awesome.
Yeah. All right, so this isn't just a let's blow up everything mission. This is also a we gotta protect things and save.
He's gotta blow up these computers.
Yeah, that's what Grimlock wants to do.
Grimlock no like computer.
There you go.
That's what you're looking for.
So the other Insecticons were just the intro. This is the real Insecticon fight.
This is what everybody wants to see right here. Grimlock and the Insecticons.
I have all three of those sitting in my office right now.
I do as well.
Yeah.
Along with Grimlock. There's a lot of bombshells.
Yeah, we're gonna need the...
You were worried about like why there's two. Now there's a million.
There's like 1,000 of them. Here, let's go.
See, now once again, we've jumped to a different style of gameplay here.
Yeah.
You know, I love how much variation there is in this. It keeps it really fresh. Yeah, I mean, seeing this type of thing, this is a nothing new level, but I'm glad that it's here because it's.
It breaks it up because you just had this big long melee section, and now you're like.
You don't need to do more of that. You need something else for a little bit.
Like if I was running down this hallway fighting more of these guys like one after another, I like this better. It keeps the pacing.
It is. It's also a very fast-paced game, which is great.
And it looks great.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So a huge part of the game is this weapons section, and you always want to be upgrading your weapons and keeping up with that because you don't want to be far into the game still using your same weapons and items. So keep upgrading and keep getting better. And they give you so much stuff to go through. Yeah, freeze missiles, thermal gloves. There's a lot of awesome stuff in here, and it's a lot to keep it interesting. You can keep switching between different weapons, and you're gonna want to be doing that all the time. So the best thing you could get would be like rank S, level 99. That's what you're working up towards.
Like I was talking about Diablo where it's tiered, so like the easy stuff maxes out, and then normal maxes out, and then hard maxes out, and you want to play through the game at each difficulty so you have the gear to be ready for the next one.
Oh, you can actually combine the levels of the weapons to make it stronger.
Yeah, so if you have cool abilities on weapons that maybe you don't want to use, you can use the synthesis system to get those cool abilities on the weapon that you actually want to use.
That's pretty amazing.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, Shockwave.
Shockwave time. And he's a gun.
Oh, there you go. Right. Game redeemed.
Yeah. Look at this fight. What the heck?
This is a crazy fight.
Yeah, you want Wheeljack on this fight with the shield.
Who would be the worst to use on this fight? Grimlock? This is like top tier everything. Top tier gameplay, top tier graphics, like everything you would want. The style. This, you know, this is just gonna...
How is this game so much better than all the other ones that came before it? That's like there's such a difference.
Of all, they started at the beginning. They were like, we need to make an actual Transformers game. That was like, step one.
That was like the first big part, but then the second thing they did is we needed to have like deep gameplay.
Yeah, and they did it.
Yeah. The only thing you would want is like more characters, more like those kind of, just more of what you have.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would want like, I don't know if it's in it or not, probably isn't, but I would want like Unicron.
Here he is.
You got that right, Auto Scum.
I love the trash talking. You got that right, Auto Scum.
Yeah.
It's got to be like that.
That's such classic, like,
yeah.
You know, 80s speak.
You see that he fired the tank projectile by leaning forward?
I did, yeah. I did see that. Okay, that missile he just shot was bigger than he was. Yeah. There's weapons and there's tech, but as far as the weapons go, you can select up to 4 and use the D-pad to go through them. There's also weapon rank, and then there's weapon levels. So there's all kinds of optimization you can do.
And the character progression is really important because the enemies get harder. When you're on the 4th level of the game, the enemies are going to be hitting harder. The enemies are going to have more health and more damage.
It actually has a steady progression.
Yeah, so when you go back and you play that 1st level, that 2nd level, you're going to feel like a badass when you have your gigantic level 10 cryo mace or something like that. It's going to be way more.
And what's really cool is, let's say you get to a boss and you're having a really hard time. You can fight in the challenge mode. I think there's like 50 of those, and you can go through and fight in those and level up your character. Then go back to the actual campaign, and you'll be able to beat the boss because you've leveled up now.
One of the things that I really thought was cool is, you know, it is linear gameplay. It's not an open world game. It's a game where you have levels. You go from level 1, 2, so on and so forth. But inside those levels, there are items hidden in plain sight where your grasp of the controls or your ability to, you know, jump in a particular way or do a particular technique will enable you to get them.
Yeah, another thing that's great about the game is it's not just all combat melee, because a lot of the footage you might have seen of it, it's just a lot of fighting, and that is, I would say, the core of the game. But the game is broken up into other types of gameplay that keep it fresh and keep you interested, and then they jump you back to the melee again.
The other thing I wanted to mention is the game brought me back in some of the later sections where you're fighting many enemies, brought me back to the beat-em-ups that I loved as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, you're fighting multiple, like, they're generic Decepticons, but they have great moves that you gotta dodge.
It kind of feels like you're playing an old beat-em-up like Turtles in Time or The Simpsons Arcade Machine. It gives you that feeling. Not to say that the game is much more complicated as far as the combat mechanisms go, but it kind of feels like that, and it should.
Yeah, it should. I mean, and it might be the color schemes because it's from that era,
right, yeah,
that kind of thing. But you know, you're fighting a bunch of car robots on a bridge. You're fighting a bunch of Seekers, which are the jets.
Yeah.
You know, it's got that feel.
There's actually 5 playable characters, 5 different Transformers that you can be in the game. And you got Optimus, you got Sideswipe, you got Bumblebee, Wheeljack, and Grimlock. So it's pretty much a good selection of characters that you can play as.
And they all play very differently. Like if you're playing as Optimus, he's the balanced character that you know you would have. You play as Bumblebee, his moves are very evasion based. You're playing as Grimlock, he's like the Hagger,
he's slow but he's strong.
The Zangief of the game. You know?
He's
so
the Zangief.
Pretty cool.
People ask me all the time, what games are you excited for coming up? and a lot of people say, oh, it's got to be Mario Maker, it's got to be the new Zelda, or it's got to be, you know, whatever. And
Destiny, something like that.
Destiny, something like that. I'm like, actually, the ones I'm most excited for are Doom and Transformers Devastation, and I'm so glad that now that I've had some hands-on time with it, that it actually lives up. I was worried about, because I saw images online earlier that it looked like a G1 game, and that's what I've always wanted, and I was worried about, well, is the gameplay any good? Now that I played the actual game itself, I'm like, wow, not only is it good, it's great.
There was a lot of room in this for disappointment. You have a beloved franchise. You have...
They could have easily fucked it up.
There's been so many licensed, you know, Transformer and Transformer-like games, and this game, you know, it does the source material justice.
It gives you what you want.